United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon said the amount of money was greater than expected. Mr. Ban, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and Haitian President René Préval led a conference of donors at the UN March 31st. The Secretary General said nations and their international partners promised $5.3 billion for the next 2 years and almost $10 billion in total. The United States promised more than $1 billion. The European Union said it would give more than $1.5 billion. Mr. Ban urged the donors to carry out their promises. He said the donors must make sure Haiti gets the money it needs when it needs it. And they must guarantee that the money is well spent. The money will be used to meet emergency needs, such as water, food, and shelter for homeless people in Haiti. It will also be used to rebuild Haiti's infrastructure, its important systems and services. These include transportation and communication systems, water and power lines, and public institutions, including schools and hospitals. The money will also create new jobs and put the country on the road to sustainable development. It is expected to take 10 years and more than $11 billion to finish the job. Secretary Clinton said donors and the government of Haiti showed a new level of international support, coordination, and cooperation. Haitian President René Préval expressed his thanks and said the Haitian people and government would do their part to make the country's rebuilding a success. Haiti's government will have the major responsibility for supervising those plans. It will work closely with international partners, including the United Nations, the United States, and international financial organizations. The huge earthquake that struck Haiti killed more than 230,000 people. It left more than 1 million other people homeless in a nation where most citizens were already living in deep poverty. And that's the VOA Special English Economics Report. You can comment on this story and other programs at voaspecialenglish.com.
This is the VOA Special English Economics Report. 2 American rulings could change how information is controlled online and in our bodies. In April, a federal appeals court in Washington ruled that current laws limit government power over internet traffic. The court rejected an order against America's biggest cable company. In 2007, officials ordered Comcast to stop interfering with file sharing programs used by its internet customers. Comcast said big files slowed its network. All 3 judges agreed that the Federal Communications Commission had no legal basis to tell Comcast what to do. The FCC supervises communications by radio, television, wire, satellite, and cable. But its power over internet and wireless communications has long been questioned. Now, without changes in the rules, network providers could slow or block services of competitors. The decision came just weeks after the FCC announced its National Broadband Plan to provide faster, lower-cost connections for almost all Americans. The FCC says the court in no way disagreed with the importance of preserving a free and open internet. The agency could seek new powers to regulate internet service and enforce net neutrality. That is the idea that all content on the web should be treated equally. In a different case, a recent ruling in New York renewed debate about who can own genetic information. Myriad Genetics received patents for methods to identify women with genes that create a high risk of breast cancer. Patents involving the two genes made Myriad the only company able to offer the costly tests. But federal judge Robert Sweet canceled 7 of 23 patents related to the genes. He said they violate the law against patents for products of nature. Yet companies and universities often claim human genes as intellectual property. An estimated 20% of human genes have been patented in the United States. Judge Sweet said the Patent Office thinks DNA should be treated like any other chemical compound. The idea is that removal from the body and purification makes it into something different that can be patented. He said many consider this a lawyer's trick to avoid the ban on the direct patenting of DNA, but the result is the same. Cancer activists and researchers fought the patents. Myriad is appealing the ruling. And that's the VOA Special English Economics Report.
I'm Alex Villarreal with the VOA Special English Economics Report. Changes are taking place in Silicon Valley in California. Larry Page will replace Eric Schmidt as chief executive at Google. And Apple's chief, Steve Jobs, is taking another medical leave. 2 years ago, Mr. Jobs received a new liver. In 2004, he had pancreatic cancer. The latest announcement did not say how long he might be away or give a reason. Apple reported record-high earnings for the final 3 months of last year. But the health of Steve Jobs always brings questions about the future of the company. He helped start Apple Computer in 1976. Today, the company that played a big part in the personal computing revolution just calls itself Apple. Its products include the iPod and iPhone, and its latest success, the iPad tablet computer. Steve Jobs has long been Apple's public face, but some might forget that he left in 1985 to form a computer company called Next. Manuel Perez Quiñones is a computer science professor at Virginia Tech. He says Apple has led the development of some technologies, but that explains only part of its success. For example, he says many development tools associated today with Apple came from Next. Apple bought Next in 1996. Mr. Jobs rejoined Apple and became the permanent CEO in 2000. Last May, Apple passed Microsoft in market value and became the most valuable technology company in the world. Mr. Jobs says he will remain Chief Executive Officer and stay involved in major decisions during his medical leave. But he put Tim Cook, his Chief Operating Officer, in control of daily operations. As Steve Jobs steps back at Apple, Eric Schmidt is stepping down at Google. Mr. Schmidt plans to leave his CEO job in April after almost 10 years. He will remain on Google's board of directors. Larry Page